Welcome to the Path to Our podcast. My name is Elizabeth Palmer, and my guest today is Helen Lee. I don't know where to look. Okay. You can look at me or the camera if you feel like you're going to say something really profound. Just
no. Okay.
No.
Okay.
You don't have to do that.
If it feels right. I'm just a girl in the world who is really curious about things. I'm on a road trip.
Mm-hmm.
I think a very life-defining road trip.
Fun backstory of how we met. We were roommates on a group trip to Costa Rica, which I think was probably another. Would you say life-defining? It was a good trip for many different reasons.
I would say it was a catalyst for a lot of us, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's so many, anything can be a catalyst, but it felt like such an intentional trip. The design of the trip was really intentional. Our host Elise is super intentional. I think everyone came into it with a different, but very thoughtful intention.
Yeah, I feel like for me it was a chance to not have any roles or labels. So it was a big relaxation. Who am I kind of thing. Just oh, I'm not mom here. I'm not Wayfarers Media here. I'm not whatever all the things are that I define myself as and that other people define me. It was very freeing to be around a bunch of people who have no idea who I am, and I can just be oh, who am I actually? I can be whatever I want. Let's try a little bit of this and a little bit of that and see what feels right. So it was good times.
Wasn't it so liberating? I came into it I was just not even coming out of going through really, really heavy depression and feeling super disconnected with myself and a lot of parts of my identity. And I think that's why I struggle with that question and how so many of us struggle with who are you? How can you convey that without getting attached to these markers of identification? And I think I just it rubs up against me because I just want to be free. I just want to be free.
Just want to be a little cloud of awareness floating through the world.
Yeah.
And now
I don't even want to be aware. I'm done being aware. It sucks.
Awareness is overrated. And now you're doing a big road trip across the country.
Yeah.
And I think learning some things about yourself and about other people. And I think that's kind of where I want to start our conversation. And then if it stays here, great. And if not, that's also great. But I'm curious why did you decide that a road trip was going to be the big shakeup?
I don't know if I decided.
Oh.
I knew I wanted to leave New York City. I've been living there for 15 years. It was the only place I ever chose to be home. And I, my imagination, couldn't expand past this. Yeah, where else would I live? I knew that I needed a big change in my life. I was going through, I just needed a big shakeup. I was going through a lot of mini breakdowns, in my psyche and in, I felt like I really needed a break from my relationship. I think I was really desiring to reconnect with other relationships, friendship has always been the most important thing in my life, since it just innately. Um, and I felt like I was kind of losing that and losing myself, and in losing that, like just in the age range that we occupy, you know, like all friends having nuclear families and kids and being really preoccupied, and or like with careers, and just how society is designed. It felt super insular, and I don't want to live that way. And it felt really grating to like have this desire and have kind of an imagination for a different way to live, and not being met with that in my reality. And I felt like I needed to change that, and I didn't know how. And so there were a couple of like very close friends in like different parts of the country that I knew that I felt good to like go and be with and stay with. And so I think I just like sort of plotted out that journey. And the car that my ex was leasing, he was like getting a new car, and I was like, what if I love this car? What if I buy her out and like travel with her? Very new driver. Yeah. Just made some fun, great, and terrible choices.
What has been the most surprising thing about this trip so far?
It's not necessarily surprising, but like there are, I guess in the beginning it was really surprising how generous people are, and how much was being poured into me, like how many doors were, like literally how many homes were being opened to me. It was really difficult to feel deserving of it. Yeah, and that's something that I like am still working through and grappling with. And I think the most surprising thing is like how much I get to redefine like every aspect of my life.
Do you feel like you've gotten a very different idea of America? That's such a broad term, but I know we talked about one of the things that you were interested in exploring was like just other parts of the country that you haven't seen before, and other types of people you haven't really had the chance to interact with. Do you feel like I don't know, I don't want to ask questions that are too leading, but do you feel like your
Lead me.
perception of the country of America has changed?
Yeah.
The South, for example.
I think oh, my thoughts are going everywhere. I feel like there's so many ways I can answer that. Leaving the land, like going from state to state and seeing the different ecosystems, and like actually being in the place and getting to explore like different kinds of land. Like I love go hiking every day, all day, every day. And like seeing the nuances and like different like ecosystem changes as I'm like heading south, heading west, like that's really fun. And it makes America feel smaller in a sense, like less scary. And then with the people, I grew up in California and New Jersey and like being coastal, and I think it is a reflection of like the political landscape, right? Or like just how much fear we have of each other, or like our separateness and divisive otherness that we carry internally. To like that is something that like whatever is happening in the macrocosm is happening in the microcosm of your own internal landscape. So being confronted with that a lot is like challenging and also really exciting. That it's an opportunity. Like I get to engage with different places and different people, and yes. And then I think where you're leading me to is like how, you know, people hold like different beliefs, or I guess on the surface, like how whatever, I think it's hard not to talk about like, you know, political views in this time right now, and like how it's affecting everyone, and how it like our internal strife with that manifests differently. But yeah, like in Colombia, when I was staying with your parents, I stayed right after that. I stayed at an Airbnb in a room, and the couple there they were like the most religious, most white, most Southern, most conservative people that I have met, like probably on this entire, that I've gotten to like actually engage with and stay with.
Mm-hmm.
And they were so generous and so kind-hearted. And they're also such community builders. They host a weekly dinner. And now I'm on this like group text thread, and every Friday I get like a Shabbat Shalom. Like this is like our dinner, and like the prompt, and like they're just super thoughtful and
Have you in this trip so far, have you come across any places or things that you're like, oh, this could work, like I could live, this could be my reality?
To like live,
to like
to stay?
Any places that you've been like, I could live here? Or even if not a place, have there been things that you've seen in your travels where you're like, oh, I want some of this, I want some of this, I want some of this?
Yeah. Actually, the thing of like, I want some of this is has been a lot like in the homes and like the design of places and the design of like community, whether it's like the people that like like the weekly dinner, that is like a perfect example of like you can design that.
Yeah, I'm kind of like, do I need to start
maybe
weekly dinner?
Oh, you would love it. Yes,
I might have to do it. Maybe not weekly yet. Maybe I'll start. I'll start slow.
Yeah, their kids were like fully grown.
Yeah,
now maybe focus on.
Yeah,
maybe. I think I felt that at almost every place that I've been, because I get to see everything with fresh eyes, and I'm searching for like what is beautiful about that place, and not yet jaded to like glossing over those things. Yeah. I think also I'm learning that feeling of home is within me. It's not, the environment is so important, and like there are definitely different places are conducive to like different energy, or attracting different kind of people, or having like different kinds of pockets of community, and those are all really important. And like knowing, like you're saying, like, oh, I like this and I don't like that, and like discerning that and recognizing that, and making moves based on that is super important. And I think just as important, if not more important, is that feeling of like home and safety and security and comfort and all of that. If that doesn't exist in yourself, you will never find it anywhere. And I think I've been over the years learning a lot of like, and just putting more and more tools in my toolkit and feeling more resourced and investing more time in friendship and like the things that I bird yeah, just like actually practicing and fortifying like what I am thinking in my head of like, oh, I value this, I believe that, you know, and to actually practice and embody it is a different thing. And I'm getting to do that.
Yeah. I think we're given this idea of home as like the other people in your life, and maybe it's growing up or something else, but it's kind of hard work to only rely on yourself to be that sense of home. I feel like it's very easy to go externally and say it's my parents or it's my children or even my house, because those are all things that don't require me having to be a safe place for myself or be trustworthy for myself. And maybe it's growing up.
I think it's both. It's like hugely both. I thought, I don't know if we've talked about this, but when I embarked, I had this notion, like I thought that this trip was like reclaiming my independence, particularly like from my romantic relationship that I was leaving. And very quickly, like within the first couple of days, I realized that this trip was, I'm redefining interdependence and that I can't solely do it on my own. There's just no way. I'm relying so much on the generosity of other people. I'm relying so much on, I don't think it's ever like one thing. Like I think about reciprocity a lot and like where I can find these cycles of reciprocity in friendship and in like when I'm co-living with people, like how do I think in the beginning it was like, how do I pull my, like, how do I prove that I'm, you know, like of value to be here?
Yeah.
Again, like everything it's always in motion all the time. There's never like, got it, done, locked it, like, that's it, you know? Hi, Lara.
What's up? Are you skulking? Skulking? She's looking for cats. I bet she can smell that they've been in our yard. She's like probably mad about it a little bit.
Thank you for guarding us.
Do you feel like when you go to just be in an Airbnb and you're just by yourself, is there like does it feel very relieving to not have those other people around?
Yeah. Yeah, I fucking love solitude.
Yeah.
It's just a different kind of energy.
Yeah.
It's also such a luxury. Because I think I've spent more time living with people than on my own during this trip. And I've always liked solitude. Like I'm wired that way. I think if I wasn't wired that way, I wouldn't feel like that. I get nosy on you. That's where you're.
I was just writing down. I need to remember to ask a friend who I know went to a really cool Airbnb out west.
Oh.
It was like spaceship Airbnb, not spaceship, but they were like futuristic.
Where? Send
I
me your
can't
cool
remember.
Airbnbs.
I can't remember, but I'm gonna find out.
Mm.
Yeah, I remember when I was younger, being by myself for extended periods of time was like the most terrifying thing, because I don't think I had that internal sense of myself as home. I was like, everything that I did, I was validating based on the people around me. And now,
Oh, me too. I think that's an extrovert introvert thing.
Oh,
I recharge on my own.
Oh,
Like, I can have so much fun with people.
Yeah.
But like with Adrian, like
Yeah.
you hit a certain point and you're just like, okay, goodbye. Like I need to be out of here.
into the bushes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it used to be just that, like, I'd be, yeah. I think at this point, now that I have I think I have a much stronger sense of self than I used to. And I'm much more and also I think, when you're surrounded by other people all the time, suddenly, like you're saying, it's a kind of a luxury to just be responsible for only yourself. Like sometimes I watch Instagram videos of people who are like, I traveled across the world and all I packed was my Uniqlo banana sling, and they show like
oh, you mean the one we were all influenced to get?
Yes.
Shout out to Holly's.
The Uniqlo like it holds a lot of stuff, and so they're like, here's my little toothbrush and my like one change of clothes that I'm making so tiny, and then I'm just gonna get on a plane and go. And I'm like, whoa, that seems so crazy and fun, just to like get on a plane and just go somewhere all by yourself and experience something different. And I don't know, maybe stay in a hotel. And this is also, predicated on having the funds to just go and be able to just be able to do it without stress. Like if you have enough money, then you can kind of just you can just go anywhere and be pretty assured that you're going to be able to find somewhere safe to stay and that kind of thing. So there's definitely like a level of privilege that goes into
100%,
that.
yeah.
But the idea of like just being somewhere only responsible to myself is like, sounds amazing. And I think that's a little bit what going to Costa Rica was like. Obviously there were other people involved and we were on a schedule, but ultimately like I was only responsible for getting my own stuff packed. I didn't have to worry about, the baby bag or making sure I had my computer stuff ready to go or whatever. It was really nice.
Have you ever traveled solo?
I did before I had Oliver. But it was usually, it was like to go see family.
I mean like go somewhere new.
Just by myself, only for work, like for shoots and stuff. But even those were like sometimes felt like vacations. But I feel like before I had a kid, my whole life was a vacation. Everything was for me. And Adrian, but he's independent. So it's not like we need the other person to like he's not relying on me to like wash his clothes or cook food. I mean, I do cook a lot of the food because I'm a better cook. And if he were the one cooking all the time, I'd get bored. But it's not like he relies on me to, make his life run or vice versa. So before having a kid, I think we were both like, it was like an advance of like, we're living our lives and we're together and there's a lot of stuff that we do for each other, but none of it's like dependent on the other person. So like looking back on that, I'm like, whoa, I used to stay up so late because sometimes that nighttime focus, it's amazing. Like kind of like a high of just like sitting and editing at the computer. And I'm like, wow, this is incredible. No distractions. Nobody's texting me. Nobody needs anything right now. And then I'll sleep until 10 or 11 the next morning. amazing.
There's also like a 3 a.m. like everyone I talk to who's a creative, there's like some weird energy that's like a 2 a.m., 3 a.m. Like it only comes at that time.
Yeah.
It's like, oh my God, am I a genius? Like the best ideas, like I don't know what it is.
I remember in college writing a paper and I was like loopy because it was 2 or 3 in the morning. And I was just like making all these crazy connections in my brain and it was like a creative paper. So I don't think I could have done like a, I don't know, chemistry analysis or math. But I got a good grade on it. The teacher was like, wow, this is really, this is really creative and inventive. And I was like, thanks for affirming my poor decisions.
Maybe that's the key, like to be loopy, to be a little like it lowers your rational mind, like your rational mind stays down or goes to sleep, and you it's like not wasted energy of like second guessing or the doubtful chatter. Or you're just like, oh, this is fun. What a good idea.
Regular life makes it so hard to just be creative. Like, I think for creativity to thrive, you need to have some kind of space to make those connections. But when you have like other responsibilities just always in the back of the head, it's so hard to make that space.
I know. Why do we have responsibilities? Just kidding.
Responsibilities
make us who we are.
Great.
Yeah.
But are they? You know, it's like one of those. I think some responsibilities are.
I think you need a push and pull of everything. Like everything comes with duality for a reason. Like creativity and the like freeness wouldn't exist without constraints and discipline. I know.
Yeah.
You know.
I think some of it I feel like it's more. I think we give ourselves a lot of responsibilities to live a certain type of life, but then we look at the life and it's like, do I really like, I mean, we love our house, we love our cars, we love our working air conditioning, like all of the stuff that we have worked hard for and paid money for, and I've heard, or like new tech or whatever, and I've heard a lot of new tech, like technology,
like smart tech,
just like like getting newer phones and blah blah blah. And I've heard it. There's other countries where those are considered like false luxuries, or not false luxuries, but it's like things that give us a feeling or a sense of security that's not really necessary for our lives, but they also like tie us down to one place, because in this country at least, you know, we have people who are chronically in credit card debt and who are working 40 plus hours a week to be able to just barely make it. And so they have these little things like a new phone that it's like, well, you know, I'm doing well for myself because I have this phone, even though they're like slowly dying inside because they're not going outside or they're not having any creative expression in their life.
It's like worshiping false idols.
Yeah, that's when I think of responsibility in a negative sense. That's kind of what comes to mind is like credit card debt and how that's like
interesting,
like a thing that people. Well, and I mean, we're still working on paying off debt for ourselves, and I think that we've got probably more flexibility in it than a lot of other people do. This is not where this is not on my
just keep going
conversation today, but yeah, just having I think in a lot of other countries crippling credit card debt is not as big of an issue, and that's where I started down this path. Where was I going?
Who cares?
It doesn't matter. I'm trying to. There's different ways to deal with it.
Responsibility.
Responsibility. I
think of it really differently now. Maybe. I think there's like things that you're responsible for, like human maintenance. Like you're like number one is like responsible for your baby.
Yeah.
And but really, like, I think number one is you're responsible for yourself. I think radical responsibility is something that I am really embracing on this journey, because like every stop, every thing that happens is it's just so obviously like one-to-one. If I don't do the thing, if I don't plan the thing, if I don't book the thing, hello, thank you so much.
Oh, hi.
Like the thing won't happen. Plus the interdependent thing of like, it's not just me. I rely totally on it, me being received, or like how things are going to be received by the people, the places, so that responsibility is both completely like, again, like independent and communal. I think there's something in, I don't know if it's like a correlation, but I've been thinking so much about ownership. I think similarly to responsibility, like I have to take ownership of myself, and there's nothing that I can really, like, there's no kinds of ownership that is more real than your ownership of yourself.
Yeah.
Because that is what dictates every other experience that you have with life, everything.
Yeah.
And I think there's a conflation of that ownership of like, I need to own up to this thing, or I need to own a house, or I need to own land, or I need to own, I don't know, people. Or that I believe is not the right focus of ownership or the interpretation of it. And I think that's kind of like what you're saying of like, people needing new things and owning things and feeling responsibility for things.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
I think sometimes the ownership creates that, what I would consider the more negative responsibilities, like responsibilities that don't really add much to your life. And that's things like certain bills. But if you don't pay those bills, then you're going to get in big trouble.
You got bills coming up soon? It's on your mind?
No, it's always on my mind.
Yeah.
But self-ownership is the opportunity to have that responsibility be more internal, and have the responsibilities change from things that are external to things that are like, I'm responsible for, creating a better world. I'm responsible for the people in my community and that kind of thing, like that. That is a different type of responsibility that I think is more enriching for our lives. But it's a harder responsibility, because taking ownership for yourself hurts a lot of times. Like sometimes I think taking ownership is where you have to like really be willing to like look at yourself and say, this is who I am, like the good, the bad, the ugly, all of that, and like taking it all, loving it all, and then doing the same thing for other people. And so like that is much more rewarding work, but it's a lot harder. Whereas like I can get a dopamine hit from scrolling Instagram.
Yeah.
And it doesn't always feel great in the long run, but in the moment I'm like, oh, easy. I don't have to do anything. I don't have to reflect. I don't have to be a certain type of person. I can just like take take it all in.
Yeah.
And that's, I think it leads to other types of, I think that's probably where some of our disconnection comes from, is like outsourcing that ownership and responsibility of things outside of us, instead of taking ownership for ourselves and our communities.
Well, like, where do we learn that anymore? You know, like, I guess you learn that through church. I think there's a lot of like things in the zeitgeist about like going back to church, or like we've strayed too far from religious structures. And like, it's always, I mean, zoom out of like human history, we're nothing. We're just like a speck of dust in the timeline of the world. And where was I going?
Responsibility, responsibility.
It's just, I mean, I think everything kind of comes down to like, in this time, in this context, in our generation, for the people who are like living in this classroom of earth, in this, you know, right now.
This our grade.
Yeah, our grade. Everyone alive in existence today. At least in America, it's just capitalism. Like, everything has been, you know, like all the true values are hidden because it's not easy money, and it is easier to like get people addicted to like the fast dopamine hits, and like, it's so extractive. And it's like tired today. My thoughts are like really, I feel like now we're like just settling in. Like, in the beginning it was like, oh no,
but it's interesting to see, like, just when I've had people tell me about different episodes, they're like, oh, I really enjoyed this particular conversation, or I really enjoyed this thing about it, and I'm like, oh, I feel like I asked terrible questions, or I felt like very awkward or something. So it's been interesting to see what resonates with people, even if for me, like, in the moment I was like, oh, I'm overthinking what's happening. Hi. Can you give us a different...
That's okay. A different angle. Can you think about your angles, girlfriend?
Will step on your cup.
Oh, thank you.
Do that right there.
How do you feel self-conscious in in asking questions? Like, how much? Thank you so much.
Oh, sweet.
How much of your brain space is like occupied of like, gotta be in presenter mode and you know?
I think once the conversation starts to flow, then I'm not as conscious of that actively. But I think that's also come with practice, of like allowing conversations to happen. And sometimes I'll go into a conversation on camera with a certain idea of what I want to talk about. And so, like, I'll kind of start off, I usually have a general place I want to start with. But I find that the more questions that I have ahead of time, then the more awkward I feel.
Oh,
because it feels like I'm trying to force the conversation. And sometimes I think, well, and I credit myself in finding fun people to have conversations with, even if I feel like I'm forcing a little bit. I think the questions lead to really interesting answers from the people. And I try to ask people questions about things that they have not a lot of knowledge about or experience about, so that it's like mostly them talking. Some of the episodes I think are more back and forth. Some of them I'm like, I have this person who is like really good at this particular area, and I want to like get as much juice out of it as I can, because I think a lot of people can benefit from the the episode with Christine, where she's like been in professional development for years and life coach and all of that, like her information on self assessment and growth and parenting. I mean, it was all just so good that I felt like I just had to just drop a little question in and then she can go.
Yeah.
So it's been fun to kind of do each episode and see how it evolves with each person. And
there's a lot of interdependence, I think, too, in that, like, you have to have trust in each other and like fluidity of being so attached to like your own vision of this thing, like that relies on other people. As I'm saying this, I'm like reflecting on things at work and I'm annoying myself. I'm like really dragging myself right now.
Oh no. It does also feel like there's a Venn diagram of like how to be a good podcast host / guest and like being good co-living people. Like the things that you're saying, like, oh, these are also things that we, learned about living with another person for an extended period of time. So maybe it's just like things, things that help us be good humans.
Yeah.
And like in good relationships with other people are going to apply to so many areas of work.
Yeah. Everything is everything.
Everything. Yeah. Earlier you were talking about reciprocity and that was making me think of Braiding Sweetgrass and just the way she talks about the culture that she grew up, like she learned how to live in community from her culture and from just being in a very tight-knit, small community. So I guess a lot of, since, humans historically grew up in more communities like that, it's something that a lot of people probably learned just by living and existing. And now we don't have that as much. So we have to be,
now we have to really actively create that against the odds.
Yeah. And there's still, and I think we discount, maybe not discount, but we forget that there are still communities and families who are living, like there are so many multi-generational. Oh no.
Thank you so
you want to
much.
come sit right here? You can come right here.
Good girl.
Oh, sorry. You want to come right here? Oh, lay down. Come on. Lay down. No. Oh. No, lay down right here. Right here. She's going to make that fire. Oh, you see my microphone? Do you want to say something to the people? Do you want this to be your podcast? Oh my gosh, I see her little muzzle's getting some extra gray hairs. I think we forget that there are like still a lot of multi-generational families living together, and there are people who are doing it, but they're not necessarily part of the main lens or culture. Like in America, we don't see a lot of examples of that in our media. And I don't know, are there any good TV shows out right now with like?
Oh, I'm not the right person to ask that. I do not watch TV.
I can't think of any examples at the moment.
I think we also forget though that like that kind of living, I think that because we're so disconnected from it, there's and I'm so guilty of this, there's sort of a romantic sentiment around it. And we forget or maybe don't fully know that like living that way is gonna have a lot of friction. It's gonna be annoying. That it's gonna be messy. And there's probably a lot of fur going on in there now. It's okay. That's okay.
Mine is tiny bugs. And I guess I'm thinking a lot of like immigrant families that I knew growing up. I mean, my grandma lived with us for a short time, and that was rough. But
it's
I think
rough.
there's a lot of
it's rough.
It's really hard because you've got people from different generations with different ideas about parenting.
Yeah.
How to run the house. And
I think it's also tied to like we're we are, again, going back to capitalism, but we're just so fostered to want convenience over everything. You know, it's like we're what do they call it? Like the Amazon generation? I don't know. Like
not the fun Amazon.
No, not the fun Amazon. I mean, it depends on who you ask.
Oh, that's a gorgeous butterfly.
Maybe this is not a good idea. So
no, we're out here. We're having a conversation with nature.
Okay. Who's even watching this? Who are you?
I don't know who's gonna watch it. I know we have some listeners. Thanks. If you're watching this on YouTube, subscribe, like, leave a comment. If you are not watching this on YouTube, maybe go back and watch this on YouTube later. Put it on mute and then just play it in the background. Get my views out.
I'll do that. Oh, I didn't even know you were on YouTube.
I am. Oh. I just started posting these as video episodes as well.
Wow. She said, I'm diligent.
I'm trying.
Love that.
Part of me is like, what if I could turn this into a job?
Yeah.
I think that would be really fun.
I think I would doing it.
I think I would love that. It's just going to take a long time to do it. So what I'm hearing is the best co-living situation
is with you?
Is with people who you agree with on a lot of things. Or who are flexible enough to like to do it. I guess there's a flexibility that comes with it.
Yeah. Oh, earlier when you asked me like what I'm most surprised by, I think I'm also surprised by my adaptability because I'm so I'm very certain of like what I like and what I don't like. That I was worried that I don't know, maybe part of it is like I'm overly thinking of like the other people and making sure other people feel comfortable because I feel like I'm not deserving or it's so much to ask for. And like my own parents, my mom will say all the time to be like, oh, it's like such a what's the word in English? Burden or like that it's like burdensome to stay with people and like rely on other people's generosity so much. And like I grew up with that kind of mentality and now I'm seeing it really clearly, like that's her own rhetoric and like a maybe a belief system. Well, I think it's she was an immigrant.
Yeah.
I think that is also like our parents' generation, maybe like of like you do it on your own and what were they fed? Like who benefits from them believing that? Who benefits from me? That's another question I've been asking a lot, like in redefining like and challenging my thought patterns and belief systems of like, do I really believe this? Who benefits from me believing this? Because a lot of it is capitalism.
Well, I guess I could have just said this. I didn't need to write it down. What am I trying to say? Like, it feels like people approach living with other people as like a sum of the parts. Like, each individual can do well for themselves, and then collectively, it's just we're all doing as well as each of the parts are doing. But I think if you're living in community with other people and you are each helping each other do better, then the amount of good that you are feeling as a community is going to be exponentially more than the sum of the parts.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like compounded.
Yeah. Thank you. That's
and
the word.
It's so much more easeful. Like when you think of, like when you were talking about, cooking, right? Like cooking for one extra person, you're already doing the cooking is not that much, but the what is received. Like
Mhm.
I'm receiving that, like that feels so much bigger than maybe like what you're
receiving that, but then also like while I'm cooking, you're playing with Oliver or you're helping with dishes or something like that. So like we are both receiving much more than we would have received if it was like just me cooking for, you know, um, our family by ourselves, or you just doing your own thing. Or
And I think even just that, like, it's like an energy, it's like the feeling of like receiving something that compounds into something bigger. Like it becomes less about the action and more about that feeling. And that's the thing I'm trying to, like, another like personal ownership thing is like, I can feel this, I can pay more attention to this feeling. I can savor this feeling. I can think, like, not focus as much on like the doings, but focus on like, how do I get myself in that state to feel this way, to feel, you know, like life with so much gratitude. And because that, I think that is also like maintaining that is my personal responsibility. Yeah. And it compounds.
Yeah.
And you also feel it, like when you're, you know, when you do something with a certain energy and
it does feel better.
yeah.
What are you excited about coming next?
So many things. I mean, so many, there's, I could like list all the places, but I think it's just like, I think I'm feeling ready for a different energy. I think I'm really excited at like just a pocket of solitude and exploration. And not that like I could easily stay. Like this has been the most easeful, comfortable, and like I don't feel that sense of like, oh, am I worthy of being here? That doesn't come up for me so much here. I think because you're such a secure person. And I think we have a lot of trust with each other. And we've been intentional about, particularly with Adrian, I was like, that's my biggest worry of like, my friends are okay with it, but like they got partners and they got their own lives. And he's been really great about it, I think. And because we're kind of similar and we can communicate well, and like we've all been intentional about communicating and being open to new things and voicing when like something is causing some friction. It just feels really, just feels good. Like, yeah, I could easily stay much longer.
It's a good test run for the future. When you want to come back and stay with us again.
When I come back, it'll be we're going to build our own co-living community, I think.
You're going to bring your tiny home on a trailer and set up shop? And
I don't know what it's going to look like, maybe. I got a good friend I can employ for that because she like made her own mobile home.
Amazing. Yeah, sometimes I see it's kind of like with the traveling to another country for a few days with only your banana sling Uniqlo bag. Like people who just live in a camper van all the time. I'm like, oh, that seems pretty awesome. And I'm sure that it's not pretty awesome all the time.
Oh, she just sent me a voice note about how like one of the hookup pipes or the hoses, like, I don't know the technical term, something exploded and basically the whole trailer was like covered in their piss. No, and like that's like one of the realities of the thing of like, you know, realities of like co-living too, like you're gonna come home and be like, oh my God, all the dishes are piled in the sink. Like you didn't, like there's just gonna be natural friction points.
Yeah.
And I think it's easy to like get fixated on those things. And I think maybe for you too, because we like newness all the time. Like we're like, oh, like being stagnant and like one place, one routine. Not that it's ever one place, one routine, but like it can feel like that really quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Oh no, my trail of thought just went away. She's gone with the wind. That's okay.
I think that feeling, like there's two wolves in me, and one of them is like ready to be on the road, not tied down to anything.
Yeah.
Just like me and the contents of my RV. And that's all I've got in the world, and it's beautiful. And then the other part of me is like, let's live in a small village of people of my choosing. Where we're like, I saw another video. I watched so many videos. I don't feel like I watch that many videos, but I guess I do because I'm always referencing them.
We're just taking in so many things all of the time. Like I think we forget how much, like how great we're doing, given like the state of the world is different. Like technology is so different. No one has, well, that's not true. I don't know. If you believe in different civilizations, like we don't know anything.
Yeah, no. Who knows what's out there?
Yeah.
Or
as
even like
far as we know,
universes, and that's a different conversation.
Yeah, that's a whole other tangent. I don't know if you want to go down that tangent.
In this video I saw, she's in a co-living situation, and one person is responsible for dinner each night. So they just like have a long rotation, and you let the person who's doing the shopping that week know what ingredients you're going to need for your dinner night, and everybody puts in like $50 a week for food. And then you just like take your turns cooking. And I was like, I love that. And then I would also just make bread. As much as
my God. Yeah, you would be bread mama.
I'd be bread mama. Come here for my bread. That's my main apocalypse skill. Is I will make people fermented foods. I guess I should learn how to ferment alcohol too, because I feel like that would be a hot commodity for the apocalypse.
I don't know. I would rather bread.
I think I would rather bread too, but I think that would be a very good trading thing.
Yes.
Because not everybody's gonna handle the apocalypse in the same way, and some people are going to probably turn to substance abuse, and I might as well profit off of that to help my own family survive.
Yeah. I was gonna say maybe not, because like I feel like the younger generation is like going sober.
Oh no.
But I feel like
That's
apocalyptic
true.
times. That changes things.
Times, who knows what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Yikes.
Do you think it's coming?
I think something's coming. I think there's some. I don't think we can. There doesn't seem to be any trajectory based off of where we currently are, where there's not some kind of huge change. And hopefully it's a good change. Hopefully it's like a change towards a better type of democracy. Or like, I think I was talking the other day about the author who I follow who talks about fascism being a sliding scale. So we're all like, every country has probably a little bit of fascism at least, but right now America's like a lot, and so like there's ways that we can bring that sliding scale back down. So that's the trajectory that I'm hoping we can move towards. But maybe there's one that ends in anarchy, and I don't see, like, where we are now does not feel like a stasis that could be maintained long term. There's going to be some kind of boiling point, but who knows what that boiling point is going to lead towards.
I think it's actively being decided by us right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't like that part either. It's a lot of responsibility.
It is, but it's also like I think I'm it's like another reframe of
Mhm.
like what is activism, like what
Mhm.
is your participation in that. And
Yeah.
I think we're thinking it's like so big, but it is like going back to that community
Yeah.
sense. It's like
Yeah.
I can only claim myself.
Yep.
And I know certain things about myself. I know there's like a finiteness to like the energy or like what I can put out as one person.
Mm-hmm.
But trusting in that like compounding, like we have to have trust and like do my little tiny part, and like I get to define that and I get to do what feels good for me, and also place value in like this thing makes me feel good, even if it's like I was writing something about joy as resistance right now.
Yeah.
And we have so many great teachers and models of that, but I think it's so easy to get lost right now, more than I have felt in like my lifetime, and because like we're adults, and so it feels like we gotta like no one's coming to save us. We gotta do the thing. What's the work song?
I don't really want to do the work.
Yeah, and
I
like
don't really want to
you're
do
like,
the work.
damn, I don't want to do that. That's like so much weight. But if you could redefine what that weight is for yourself, and like what would feel good for you to take ownership and radical responsibility of, and
redefine work.
Yeah, and choose to frame it in the light of like, I'm devoting myself to this, as opposed to like I have to be doing this. What is it, Tyler?
Tyler knows about her work.
Thank you so much.
She says this is my work today.
Yeah.
Safe. I was talking with Sam in my last episode about art, and how art is so important because it is a way to express joy and hope, and also, the things that are wrong in the world. But without that expression, it's so easy to fall into, become like little worker ants who are just fueling capitalism. And so like art and
which
joy
we've been designed
and expression,
for. Right? Like, that's not on us.
Yeah, we've been culturalized.
Yeah.
We've been socialized to fuel capitalism. And art is an active form of resistance because it's providing that joy and that hope. So we need to be doing more art and giving I just gave myself a sticker. Give ourselves the space to be creative. Like, if we can reframe that kind of work as resistance, and community building is a form of resistance, then I think it's easier to go into it with intention and do it, because it's the thing that we can do.
And that's also, I think, when you can sort of transmute that feeling of like work is onerous and like it's not enjoyable. I think that it can be. I mean, it's not all the time. But I think there's also like maybe like who benefits from me believing that. Do you know Adrienne Marie Brown? She wrote Pleasure Activism.
I have not read it, but I'm familiar with it.
I mean, even just like from the title alone, I don't think I finished it. What's going on? Just like reframing, like my pleasure is like taking it seriously, that it's not a flippant thing. And what could happen if I infuse that with my work? What could happen if I could see work through the lens of my like devotional service for I mean, this sounds really like high and mighty, but like the greater good, like
Yeah.
what I think of it.
Pleasure for all.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
I think we all want to do that.
kind of, yeah. I think we see pleasure and joy as like secondary importance, but it's actually like the most important.
Yeah, I don't know if it's the most important, but I think we think of it maybe as like it's not an essential, or that it is like a deterrent to like the work. But that's also like, who benefits from you believing that?
Yeah.
Who's benefiting?
Nobody. Somebody. I mean, not us, but we're
But actually nobody, because even the people who are benefiting like monetarily, like even fucking Elon Musk, or like, you think that's a happy person?
oh no. No.
You think that's a free person? That man is so
he's got
chained,
stuff
you know?
going on. Yeah. It's like the way that schools prioritize teaching children to be industrious and defund music and art programs. It's like the same reasons.
Yeah.
But everybody deserves music and art and joy. Everybody does. And I see
What's the point of life without it? So
really,
like you want to,
and community.
Yeah.
And creativity.
And it's all the same thing, kind of.
It's all the same thing. I do think some of it's probably more insidious. Like I think there's probably strategy to it. Because if people, like the schools that are continuing to have the music and art, who have the good music and art and community building and all of that, are the schools that are well funded, that have active parent engagement, that are like probably going to be a little bit more like middle class, upper class. And even in Texas, now that they have the school vouchers program that's just been enacted, where you can, it's basically, I think, going to push more money towards like private schools and pull funding away from public schools. And like the people who lose out in those situations are families where the parents who have not been given the opportunity to see that there's other options. And it's families where parents are working multiple jobs, so they don't have the time to research other options. And so it perpetuates a cycle of very poor working class who doesn't know that they can like break out of that. Because I think like the art and the joy and music and all of that are ways for people to like collectively see there's something better. We can have something better. We deserve something better. And so if you can take those out of the schools where you have people who are already disadvantaged in a lot of ways, then you're going to be able to perpetuate a very poor minimum wage working class that isn't going to fight for something better. And so that's something that I think about. Like, I love the idea of homeschooling, and I want to be able to give my child every opportunity, but also, are there ways that I can like be in community with people around me who are in public schools that are maybe getting less of those opportunities, and those kids who are getting less of those opportunities, like what are ways that I can make sure that all kids are getting access to the things that my kid gets? They all deserve it. Yeah. There's a lot of work to do.
There's so much work to do.
There's so much work to do. And some days I'm like fired up.
But it's not all your
about it.
responsibility.
I know, but
there's so many problems, and I think it's easy to be like just overwhelmed. You know,
Right.
You're like,
and then
you
I
got all
really
these
want to sit
tasks
on my couch.
Yes,
I'm
yeah, like the
overwhelmed.
paralysis of
The
just
fatigue.
growing to-do list.
Yeah.
Gotta edit it down. I've been thinking a lot about yeah.
Ooh. Still got time.
11:11.
No. Are you making a wish?
No. what was I about to say? Oh, I've been thinking a lot about commitment and choices. And also just like, we're just so flush with choices that we actually don't have a choice.
Oh, yes. Also probably by design.
Yes.
Sure.
Yeah. By design, or like as a byproduct of like greed, or just like like excess, and we want that choice, or we think we want that choice. And anyways, but for like on this trip for me, it's been hard to feel like, I feel like a lot of grief, like mini griefs in a way, over having to choose like one place or the other, or because I have to get to the next spot, like I'm like, then I have to choose to leave a really nice, situation, or like things that I really am enjoying, or that I am discovering. Like there's always grief in choosing something even that is like really wonderful and good for you, and like nothing is ever like a clean cut thing, like this is the answer. And I think that's what makes it really difficult. But also in making a commitment to something, to like reduce clutter of the other things, like it's like you're setting a boundary for yourself, like internally, that gives you more space and more energy, and like more brain power, and more all these things. So I think I would say in times of like, oh, you're feeling really overwhelmed by all the things that are not going right, like make a commitment to like a small thing in your life, and reduce the clutter, and like come back to focusing on that. It's like when you like meditation, if you've ever done like a guided meditation, it's always like thoughts are going to come up, let them come up, and just guide back to your breath again and again and again and again. And just like making small commitments and coming back to them, which is having a tough time doing right now. But
yeah, I have perpetual FOMO.
Yeah.
It's like every opportunity, every choice I can see leading off in a different direction. So I want to take all of them, but I can't take all of them. Like there's no way to do that. And I don't think we're meant to do that.
No, you cannot. Every yes is a no, and every no is a yes. And they both contain each other. And so like you're always going to have to hold both of those things. Yeah. It's just like, what are you seeding? Like what are you choosing to place your commitment and attention? And that also requires like constant reflection and assessment, because your desires and like you're changing constantly.
Yeah. Every choice is, it's I guess it's like a sculptor with it. Like the way Michelangelo found is it Michelangelo? Who like, he talked about the pieces already being inside of the wood, and he was just like removing the excess. Yeah. And each choice is like you're removing a little bit more and removing a little bit more to become more of who it's supposed to be.
I think that's what we're supposed to do as humans. Yeah. Like with consciousness.
Yeah. Yeah, those choices they're hard, but they're important.
So warm. So much.
She's doing a good job. Oh. I'm going to do another picture now that she's sitting here. Tyler.
Oh my gosh, look.
She's looking for the cat.
She's really focused.
Tyler, cats. Oh. She's like, you're a liar.
It's so beautiful back there.
It is.
You know about the tributaries?
Cute. There's a lot going on back on the creek.
Yeah.
Oh, if we
all the butterflies are out now.
You're looking for flowers that aren't here yet. I also was just reading yesterday that the kind of sugar that I've been using for my hummingbird food is not good for them. So I need to go get some more sugar.
What sugar do they like?
They need just like plain white granulated sugar. Cane sugar has stuff that maybe like extra iron, I think, that doesn't.
Oh, were you trying to give them the good stuff? Were you like, I have brown sugar? Like,
not even brown sugar, just like, I guess, organic cane sugar. because brown sugar has molasses in it, so I don't want to do that. But at least the organic cane sugar, I was like, oh, this is fine. Turns out it's not just fine. Sorry, hummingbirds.
It's too much information. I'm sure it's
too much.
Fine.
You know what I mean? What if I've killed my local hummingbird population by giving them the wrong sugar? I can't think about that. What I was thinking of is like those, like intentionally making those choices is maybe another part of growing, maybe not growing up, but growing as humans. I think there's, so many people who kind of just start moving through life as we've been socialized to do, but for capitalism, moving through life, just taking whatever the easiest path is. And that's something I love to take.
What's the easiest path, though?
The path of least resistance.
I don't think that really exists.
Like letting other people make your choices for you. And like it can be painful in other ways because the consequences of not making a choice intentionally can lead to, broken relationships, or like thinking of my from parenting perspective, if I just choose to let my child do whatever he wants all the time and not ever guide him or help him, or like if he's crying or upset about something and that makes me uncomfortable, it might be easy for me to just separate from him emotionally and say, I'm not comfortable with this. I'm not going to deal with this right now. And then that leaves him to like feel like he's caused separation, which then in the future could lead to us having a relationship where he doesn't feel comfortable sharing with me or talking to me, which I think would be very painful. So all of that to say, like making the hard choice now of like choosing to engage with those emotions as opposed to saying, I'm going to make an easy choice now and disengage, leads to longer term fulfillment. But in the moment, it's really hard.
It's so hard. You navigate that so beautifully.
Oh, thank you.
Like it's like the duck paddling. Like you're really good about keeping it together.
Thank you. I've had some good role models. And thanks, Dr. Becky, for your podcast.
Thanks, Dr. Becky.
I have like scripts that are just like ready to go in my head at all times of like things that can just, I don't even have to think about what I'm going to say because I've already like in my head, I've chosen like in these situations, this is what I want to say.
And also, like the teachings too, like that's another like compounded like community care. Like I don't have to carry all of that. I don't have to know everything. There are other people who will know something. Like
and now as he's getting bigger, I'm like, oh, I need some new scripts for things like when he is like purposefully defiant. I'm like, oh, I can't slap the shit out of him like I think parents used to do when their kids were openly defiant. Like he's pushing his boundaries, he's seeing what the limits are. And that's developmentally normal and that's okay. But I need to figure out some new ways to talk to him about it, or to show him like, I see you're trying some new things out and I'm not gonna let you blah 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 is like one of the big ones. It's like, I'm not gonna let you hit me. I'm not gonna let you hurt your body, or like just different ways to talk about like, you can't do that. I'm not gonna let you do this thing that's destructive. And
that's really tough.
It's hard. And he's so strong and so fast. God.
It's a good thing he's cute.
So cute.
So cute. Having scripts, I think, is like a really good example for us too. Like we could learn from having certain scripts of like if you understand, like for me, I have such a quick, like knowing where you are very short in bandwidth and patience. Oh, Tyler. And being ready for it, like being able to meet things with resources.
Yeah.
And knowing like where you can get those resources or ask for help.
Yeah.
That's a big thing. Asking for help is another huge.
Do you feel like you have to practice asking for help?
I think I did. I think if I didn't feel like I was already kind of in the practice of that and knowing it consciously, like, oh, I'm feeling there's a lot of resistance here. Where is it coming from? These are like the external, like what I learned outside of me and like what my belief systems are inside of me that's keeping me from being able to ask for help. And also experiencing like asking for help and having like being met with so much just grace and so much desire to help me. Like I felt so much of other people's desire to help me. I think that our imagination is limited to what we experience in our bodies. And I'm so lucky. Like I'm privileged, you know, like to have had a family or to have had good friendships and like people to show me and to like help me feel this feeling of like, you're okay to ask for help. You're safe to do that. And like also teachers and like people doing the work of like writing things about like, yeah, you need to learn how to ask for help. And this is why. And all of those things. I forgot what you originally asked me. Doesn't matter.
I feel like we could probably keep going. And the weather has also, remember how early I was like, oh, it would be so cool if it was like a little bit cloudy.
Is this the perfect?
This is perfect.
Great.
Perfect.
You
so
called it into
hopefully it's not too dark on the camera.
Ooh, that's a leaf.
Oh,
fun.
You gonna eat it?
Yeah. No.
Just drink around it.
I think we can land this plane. How do you feel?
We can land?
We can land the plane.
We can land the plane?
Is there anything else you want to say or talk about? I have 3 rapid fire questions.
Oh,
for the end.
Okay. Oh, that makes me nervous.
No, don't be nervous. They can be fun or serious. Whatever. It's like the point is whatever comes up first.
I feel like I've been so serious. Okay.
We can be silly for the last. Well, the first question is not super silly, but it's what's something you feel like you had to unlearn recently.
That's a serious question.
That's a serious one.
Unlearn. Very recently, I don't know if it's an unlearning. I think I am. I don't know how to answer this succinctly. I'm learning my defensive-ness. I don't think I'm unlearning it. Like I don't think I'm not trying to make her go away because she has so much reason to be there and it's so valid. And it's just like out of love, like it's out of a protective place. I think my defensiveness is not serving my highest good. It's not, I don't want it to drive how I behave.
Yeah.
Or the choices that I make.
That's a good one. What is your hottest take?
Oh.
This could be silly too.
I think everyone should be eating chips with chopsticks. You get it on you, like it's
I agree.
Messy, it's not hygienic. You need to get the max amount of, flavoring.
Yeah. That's something that I started doing it because I like to eat chips sometimes when I'm at my computer. But I feel weird touching my keyboard after I've been eating. Yeah, but I don't want to leave the powder on my fingers.
Yeah.
But I don't want to touch my keyboard after I put them in my mouth. Love that.
I don't think that's a hot take. I think that's like this is what everyone should be doing, actually.
I think that's a hot take.
Oh, okay.
That counts. What is something that made you really happy this week?
Oh, so many things.
Just pick one. You can say more than one. It's you.
Okay, yesterday I went out for a walk very early in the morning, and I finally found that trail, and I walked the entire loop. It's called Meadow, one of the loops.
Mm-hmm.
I walked the Meadow Loop, and I found the meadow. The like, maybe there's more than one meadow, but like there was like
It's a main meadow.
I think I found it.
Yeah.
And all the wildflowers were coming up, and it was like the dew was still, you know, like it was still really early. And I, you know, that, oh, yum! I love you so much. You know, that dream, that like fantasy that I have about like I want to like have a visual of like a music video in a wildflower meadow.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is the spot. And I was like so self-conscious, but I was like, fuck that. And I like took pictures of myself, and it was like filmed a little something for nobody, just for me. And just to like, is that the end?
Just
perfect.
Like
that was perfect.
It's a technology check time, because I know how much time is on my memory card. So it was the time for me to check and make sure everything's still running. But, so you filmed a little something just for you?
Just for me. And just to get in the practice of like, I think I'm trying to learn how to share more. I think we all need to get more comfortable in like sharing more, because of the like I can't share my gifts with you if I don't learn how to share in a way that like I don't know, it still feels a little like that like cringy feeling or whatever. Like, get over it. Get over it. Get over yourself. I read some. It was a meme. It was a meme. What was it? I think the sentiment was like, it is an affront to God to keep your gifts to yourself.
Oh, that's beautiful.
It's beautiful, and it's also like, fuck. Yeah, that you came into the world with certain things, and you got to develop it, and you got to share it because people need it. Yeah. And it's hard to. It is responsibility, but I think that's your only real responsibility.
It's a really good one. I saw something recently. I think it's either.
Hi, Adrian.
No, it's the next door neighbor letting their dogs out to pee. I saw something. I think it's probably both Gen Z and Gen Alpha, but there's this like social media migration back towards being a little cringy, because it's in being cringy that you're showing your imperfection and reality. Because I think like the millennial generation was like
so about polished perfection,
like polished and beautiful products on like just like a gorgeous backdrop, like even just this paper like single color backdrop, and you don't see any imperfection. And moving towards cringe is really hard for me. I'm like, I want to make sure I've got a good angle. And even like when we went to that concert the other night at the Kessler, I was like, I've kind of learned how to handhold my phone so that it's like stays really steady. And I was like, I got the best angle for this. And I was like filming on an app that lets me do in 4K. So then like I can have it zoom in even more and be like really good quality. And I was like, this is gonna be so nice and like so perfect. Not perfect, but I'm like, it's really important to me to have things look polished and good. And so having it like putting things out there that are less than, maybe not even perfect, but just I want to spend as much time as I can on each thing so that it is polished and ready for public consumption. And that's moving away from that, I think, is going to be beneficial for me.
Yeah.
It's also really hard.
Yeah.
I'm not ready for it. I'm a little ready for it.
I mean, but it's also like baby steps. It's not,
right.
You're not going to just like be able to like do that fully and wholly right away. No. I think there's also like, it's not either that is like this one's better than the other. It's just like where who benefits from it? Like, where is that coming from? And I think what I landed for myself was like, and what I'm drawn to is sharing versus showing. Like having whatever it is, like there's nothing wrong with wanting something to be polished and like beautiful and spend time and effort into like making it, producing it a certain way. There's like beauty in that too. Like that is an art form. And as is being really raw and like I'm not editing shit, like and releasing the thing, like there's so much benefit to both of those things. It's just and both of those things can be like, you can also be really what's the word, like controlled in the like cringy, like, if that's the sort of like, it could be an aesthetic, or it could be like you could be very controlled in it. It could be coming from the same level of like needing control and like caring too much about how it's going to be received as opposed to like what you're sharing. So sharing versus showing is like, what am I here to, like, what is the thing that I want to share for like the benefit of others, or to express what my truth is. And she's really great at expressing her truth. Thank you so much for being a beautiful model.
Into not having a perfect video. It's going to be a dog running across. What if she took the camera out of focus? We're going to keep
that would have been so fun.
That's okay. Yeah. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for coming to my backyard. This is so fun. Like, this just ended up being perfect for this, but perfect in a good way.